Okay. If you have a strap today, did you have like a bathrobe tie or strap, yoga strap or something? That would be great if you want to grab that. I think we'll be using that. And whoops. Okay. Hi, good morning. I was just mentioning, if you have a strap or yoga belt or something, or if you can grab a bathrobe tie or some type of item, we'll probably use that today. It's already warm. I'm gonna go ahead and lose my top. There we go. Excellent. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and start in a comfortable seat. So let's take a moment to just ground yourself. Really taking the opportunity to really sink into your seat. Let's begin to bring the awareness inward here. So if you haven't done so already, go ahead and close your eyes. So this opportunity to go inward and really become aware of our connection, not only inwardly, but really as we focus on our sits bones on the seat where they're making contact with the surface we're sitting on, a sense of groundedness, connection through that, all the way down through the structure of the building, right into the earth. So really, it's interesting, the word grounded. We talk about the ground, feeling connected to the planet. And at the same time, that beautiful lift, natural lift upward through the spinal column, almost extending out to the heavens. And then observing that flow of breath. With each breath, being aware of the connection to the ground and aware of the beautiful elongation of the spine upward. Sort of notice on the inhale that upward lift. Maybe envision that extension outward to the heavens, the universe. As you exhale, a slight recession. This more sense of depth and connection with the earth. So, for our awareness on our breath today, observing that sense of groundedness in the seat and that sense of extension expansion up through the spine, out through the crown of the head toward the heavens. I want you to envision on the inhale that the breath is like a ball, maybe a small ball of energy that rises up the front side of the body, all the way in front of you, up the front belly, up through the head. As it reaches the crown of the head on the exhale, coming down the spine, all the way down the spine, the end of the exhale, it then comes underneath the seat and back up the front again. So just envisioning a sense of almost like a ball of energy moving with the breath, coming up the front of the spine on the inhale, on the exhale from the top of the head, going down the back of the spine to the seat. See if you can bring the awareness along with that perception of this ball of energy moving with the breath. And the next time you inhale, just envision that ball of energy coming up to the heart center. And then you'll keep with your breathing cycle, imagine that energy just resting at the heart center. And just continue your natural breath, but focusing the awareness now at the heart center. And now let's go ahead and bring our palms pressing together and bring the thumbs toward the sternum. Anjali Mudra. And just take a moment to pause and acknowledge something you're feeling particularly grateful for right now in your life. Maybe a special someone in your life, maybe the beautiful sunny weather you've been experiencing, whatever it might be, something that you're feeling grateful for. Beautiful. And allowing the hands to come back down to the lap. So we're going to start with some nice circular movements here, just rooting through the sits bones still, and start to circle the torso in one direction, warming up and lubricating the joints, maybe feeling it in the hips and the back. And you can keep these as small as you like, or perhaps you're really feeling like bringing some greater motion into it by pressing into the palms and even undulating the shoulders, feeling that spinal column really moving, maybe bringing the head around. Really adapting to what your body is needing in this moment. Now eventually we'll start to move in the opposite direction if you haven't started to do so yet, or perhaps you're just alternating side to side a few cycles. And if you do notice any areas of extra tension today, maybe higher than usual, you can just pause there and move back and forth over that spot. Excellent. And pausing now as we come upright on our seat. We're going to take our arms and stretch them out, fingertips touching down toward the ground here. Let's rotate the palms to face upward. Inhale the arms up. Bring the palms together and then taking them down through midline to heart center. Pause here. And now inhale the arms back up, pressing the palms together until the fingertips reach the sky. Now rotate at the shoulders, extend the arms, palms facing down. Fingertips touch the ground, rotate the shoulders, palms face up, bringing them up overhead. And again, as you bring the palms together, now breathing the hands down to heart center. Pause here. And then inhale the arms up overhead, pressing the palms together until the fingertips extend as high as they can go. Now turn the palms outward and take the arms down to the side. A couple more cycles now, just 2 more cycles. Palms up as you inhale the arms overhead, bring the palms together, hands down to heart center. Pause and then inhale the arms up overhead, separate them, turn the palms out, bring them down to the ground. One last time. Palms face up, inhale the arms up overhead. Hands coming down to heart center. Pausing, inhale the arms up overhead, turn the shoulders, palms face out, exhale the hands down to the ground. Beautiful. Now maintaining the right hand on the ground, pressing the palm down, rotate the left fingertips and bring it up overhead as you come toward a C curve here. Now notice if there's a tendency for the left sit bone to start to lift, and if you do encounter that, anchor it back down. You might bring the torso higher up again, that's all right. We want to squarely be rooting down through the torso and pelvis. Feel a broadness through the side of the body here, breathing deeply into these intercostal muscles. Always ensuring that you're going to a level of some activated comfort, but not pushing yourself to the point of struggle. Perhaps you want to move the head slightly side to side here. Always good idea to start slowly with the neck. I'm sure each of us has experienced a day in our life where our neck is just a little bit tight. Maybe you've had that experience of turning it once and there's that twinge that it's good to be cautious and move slowly here. And as you bring the head back to neutral, on the next inhale, let's bring the arms windmilling through center as you take the left palm down to the ground, reach and extend the right fingertips, and again, keep that right sit bone rooted down. Expand the right side of the chest wall, breathe into those muscles, and again, option to move the head side to side. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and come back to neutral with the head. And as you inhale the torso upright, lower the right hand down to the ground. So now we're going to go ahead and move toward tabletop position. So coming onto the hands and knees and removing any bolster or block you might have been sitting on. As you find yourself in your tabletop position here, I'm just going to start to slowly circle the hips around. Just very small circles here, since the hands are mostly directly underneath the shoulders, so really small to begin with. Later on, we'll take the hands further forward and we can have larger circles. And just a few times in the opposite direction. Beautiful. Now as you come back to neutral, now let's walk the hands maybe a foot or a foot and a half forward on the mat. And, playful kitty. Now we're going to just take our hips in a circular motion here as we have broader circles, lowering the hips further down toward the mat. Keep going a few times in one direction and eventually then moving in the opposite direction. Got a little bit rambunctious kitty. I'm just going to take him out of the room for now and I'll be back in a quick moment. Great, so even out
opposite direction, similar number of times. And then we'll come back to neutral pelvis, the arms stretched out slightly in front of us. And now we'll start to take the pelvis forward toward the mat, almost like we're coming toward a variation of up dog. Take the chin off the chest, and then take the pelvis back, almost like you're coming toward child's pose. So this way, we're just undulating the spinal column forward and backward here, as we bring the hips forward, chin off the chest. As you take the hips back, tuck the chin toward the chest, like you're coming to child's pose. A few times here. Nice and slow. Beautiful. Couple more times. And now as you come back upright with the hips over the knees, we'll walk the palms back to be directly under the shoulders. We're going to come toward a twist here. So let's go ahead and bring your left palm directly underneath your face, and then open that right arm out to the side, either raising it up overhead, or there's an option to bend at the elbow and rest the palm on the small of the back, opening the right shoulder toward the direction of the wall behind you as you create that beautiful twist here. And if the hand's on the small of the back, go ahead and bring it up overhead momentarily, and then bring the hand back down. Place it where the left hand was, right hand under the face now, and open that left arm up overhead, or again, bend at the elbow and rest it on the small of your back. Again, hips directly over the knees. Beautiful. And with that left arm straight, we'll go ahead and bring it back down. Place it in the center of the mat. And this time we're going to raise the right arm up overhead and coming to thread the needle or revolve child's pose. A few times now as you exhale, bring the arm down, take the back of the arm in between the left palm and the legs, cross the mat, back of the right hand across the left side of the mat, and on the inhale, open it up again overhead. 3 more times like this. Exhale, back of the right arm underneath, pressing against the mat. Inhale, take that right arm up overhead. 2 more times. This time again, bringing the back of the right palm right across the mat off the left-hand side. Inhale the right arm overhead. Ensure you keep pressing evenly through the left palm here. Again, bring the right hand through. This time we're going to rest on the right shoulder. And then the right side of the head of the skull, gently tucking the chin toward the chest here. Keep pressing down through the left palm. And again, you may have sort of a 90-degree bend in the arm so that the forearm perpendicular to the floor and the upper arm of the left arm pressing, stretching out at a 90-degree angle to the forearm. And as we inhale, we're going to lift off the shoulder, bring the right arm up overhead, and then place it back down underneath the face. This time we'll repeat on the opposite side with the left arm 4 times now. As you inhale the left arm up overhead, and exhale, bringing the back of the left arm across the mat off the right hand side. Inhale the left arm up overhead again, and bringing it down through, sliding the back of the left arm all the way across. Inhale the arm up overhead. On the exhale again, bringing it back down and through. One last time now as you inhale the arm up overhead. And now as you bring it down, slide it all the way through, back of the left hand off the right hand side of the mat, pressing through the right palm, again perhaps a 90-degree angle in that arm. Resting on the left side of the head, slightly tucking the chin toward the chest. Not putting undue weight on the head. The bulk of the weight is pressing in that right palm. As you press it through the right palm, lift yourself up Inhale the left arm up overhead and bring it back down to the mat. Now this time as we come to revolve child's pose or thread the needle, we'll take modifications or variations if you're called to. We'll come back to that first side, left palm in the center of the mat. Inhale the right arm up overhead. And just one time now to bring it through, slide it right across the mat. As you rest on the right hand side of the head, you can slightly tuck the chin. You can either remain here, or if you're so inclined, you take the left leg out about a 45-degree angle off the mat. The toes are tucked and the toes are on the ground, and elongate the back line in that body by dropping the heel toward the wall behind. That's just an option. You can stay with the knees together directly underneath the hips. And if you do choose that option, you also have the option then to take the left hand off the mat, being cautious with the neck and not too much weight on the side of the head. Take the left hand off. You can either bring the hand to the small of the back, perhaps straighten it up overhead toward the ceiling, or reaching it to touch the ground in front of the head, stretching the arm out, palm down on the ground. Just variations and options here. If the arm is raised up, go ahead and bring that down. Press the left palm into the mat with the arm at a 90-degree angle. And again, utilize that to lift yourself as you bring the knee back in underneath. And we'll raise that right arm up overhead once more. And then bring it down to the mat. Now we're just going to repeat this on the left-hand side. So you bring the right palm directly under the face. Inhale the left arm up overhead. One time as you bring it through now. Slide the back of the left arm through the opening and across the mat, pressing through that right palm. Option to take that right leg out away from you, 45-degree angle, toes tucked. Just notice how much activation there is in the back of the right leg. The more you drop the heel back, the more sensation. You can always lift up higher on the tiptoes if it's too much. And then again, the options with the right arm. You can either leave it remaining on the floor, pressing into the palm. If you raise it up, bring it to the small of the back, either directly up toward the ceiling or reaching it overhead where it's touching the ground in front of you. Holding here, a couple more breaths. Beautiful. And if your arm is raised, lower it down, press into that right palm to give yourself leverage, to lift yourself up, take the weight off the head, bring the leg back in, inhale that left arm up overhead, and back down. So beautiful. We're back in our tabletop position. So we're just going to move the spinal column a few times here through cat and cow. Remember, on the exhale, you tuck the chin and arch the back. On the inhale, soften the belly, chin off the chest. A few times here, undulating the spine. Notice the pelvis moving forward and backward here. Great. Okay, so coming back to neutral. So we're going to go through a few cycles of cat series B and cat series C. And I'll quickly demonstrate the two, very, very quickly, just the movements, and then I'll walk us through it. But if you want to have a quick look forward here, they start in child's pose. We come onto the forearms. On an inhale, we continue to straighten the arms. We exhale to cat pose and come back to child's pose. So that'll be cat series B, which we'll do a few cycles. And then following that, we're going to warm up our downward dog so that we can come to cat bow, cow, tuck the toes, we'll come to down dog. And then as we arch the back, drop the knees, come to cat pose. Then we're going to come through Ashtanga Namaskar, and we're going to lower the chest and chin toward the ground and slide forward onto the abdomen, cobra pose. And then as we press back to child's pose. So that's cat series C. So I'll walk us through those, but just so you get a visual of those. So let's come into our child's pose to start a few cycles, cat series B. Resting the forehead on the mat as you bring the buttocks toward the heels. Forearms are on the mat in front of you. As you inhale, coming forward, lifting the torso with the forearms on the mat. And then straighten the arms into cow. On an exhale, tuck the chin, arch the back, cat pose, and then continue on the exhale to sink the buttocks back for child's pose. 3 more cycles like this. On an inhale, coming onto the forearms in cat bow. Straighten the arms into cow. Exhale, come to cat pose. And down to child's pose. 2 more times. Inhale onto the forearms in cat bow. Straighten the arms into cow. Exhale, come into cat. And down to child's pose. And one last time for cat series B. Come on the forearms in cat bow. Straighten the arms into cow. Exhale as you come to cat. And take the buttocks back for child's pose. Before we go into cat series C, it's a good idea just to warm up our downward dog a little bit so that we're well prepped for that flow. So let's go ahead and come up to down dog here. Press through the palms, tuck the toes, keep the knees bent, and take the hips back. More back than up. Of course they're going up, but it's really important to take them really far back so that you're lifting out of the palms. You want to avoid having the shoulders coming closer to the wrist. Stretch your arms straight as you take the hips back. Spend a few moments here walking the dog. Drop one heel, bend the opposite knee, and moving slowly from side to side. And just spend a few moments, now maybe 30 seconds, just warming up the dog, however feels good for you. Maybe take one leg behind the other, pinky toes alongside one another. Or perhaps you prefer to raise one leg, come to a 3-legged dog. Just spending another 25 seconds or so to warm up your dog in any way that feels appropriate for you today. And always a quick reminder, you're in the driver's seat so you can take a rest whenever you need to. The #1 teacher in a yoga class is your internal voice to guide you as to what is appropriate for you. Let's go ahead and come down now to child's pose. So drop the knees, sink the buttocks back to the heels. Actually, a quick recap. If you want to just sit up for a moment on the heels, I'm going to do a facing forward here. We do have a few people, besides those of you on Zoom, a few people on Facebook Live that I normally teach at the Senior Center here. So they might not be as familiar with Ashtanga Namaskar. So I just want to give a visual quickly here. So just when we're coming to Ashtanga Namaskar, we want to keep the elbows in tight to the side of the body and turn the elbow pits forward. So actually what's happening here is the upper arm bone is externally rotating. That's important here so that when we bring the torso and chin down to the mat, the elbows are pointing backward here, and then we slide forward on the abdomen. So I'll give a visual. Normally, it's not a good idea to demonstrate what not to do, but I think for some, it could be useful. We want to avoid the elbows going out to the side. This puts big strain on the shoulders, an unnecessary strain on the shoulders. So you keep the upper arm externally rotated, elbow pits forward, so the elbows brush the rib cage as you come down. That really helps to protect the shoulder girdle. So beautiful. Let's come back to child's pose. We will incorporate that Ashtanga Namaskar in our flow. So from child's pose, inhale to cat bow on forearms, straightening arms, cow pose. Tuck the toes out. We're lifting up to down dog, and we're going to hold here for 2 complete breaths. So inhale, exhale, inhale. On the exhale, transitioning to cat pose, drop the knees, tuck the chin, arch the back. As you take the chin off the chest and rock the pelvis back, keep the elbows in tight, lower the chin and chest toward the mat, and slide forward onto the abdomen. Pressing through the palms, press the pelvis down, come to cobra pose. Press the pelvis and the feet, elongate the spine, come forward And as you lower the head back to the mat, we're going to go ahead and come back to child's pose. Sink the buttocks back to the heels and rest here for 2 breaths. So we're going to be doing 4 more of those momentarily. And we'll come forward on the inhale to cat bow on the forearms. Straighten the arms into cow. As you tuck the toes, we're lifting to down dog. 2 full breaths here. On the second exhale, remember in Ashtanga Namaskar, first coming through cat pose here, but in Ashtanga Namaskar, keep the elbows in tight and buttocks high as you lower the chest down. Now slide forward under the abdomen and lower the pelvis. Press through the pelvis and the tops of the feet, coming to cobra. And then pressing back to down dog. Child's pose. That's the Saturday class that we do at the studio, down dog. So from our child's pose, we'll come onto our forearms, cat bow. Straighten the arms, cow. Coming to down dog now, tuck the toes, lift the hips back and high. And the second exhale, drop the knees, arch the back, tuck the chin, cat pose. Ashtanga Namaskar, chin off the chest, rock the pelvis back, elbows in tight. Keep that buttocks high as you lower the chin down to the mat. Now slide forward onto the abdomen, press through the palms, scrub the hands back as you press the pelvis, elongate the spinal column, coming up to cobra. As you lower the forehead to the mat, press through the palms to take yourself back to child's pose. 2 more times. We'll rest here for 2 breaths in child's pose. Coming onto the forearms in cat bow. Continuing on that inhale to cow pose with straight arms. Tuck the toes, lift up into down dog. 2 breaths, inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And transition to cat pose, drop the knees, tuck the chin, arch the back. Ashtanga Namaskar. Take the chin off the chest, elbows in tight, buttocks high as you lower the chin. Now slide forward onto the abdomen. Preparing for cobra. Press through the palms and pelvis. Scrub the hands back. Elongate the spine, lifting the chest and chin off the mat. Now lower the forehead down. Press through the palms. Come back to child's pose. Pausing. 2 breaths here. And then we'll be doing 1 more cycle of that momentarily. Coming on the forearms in cat, bow. Straighten the arms into cat. Tuck the toes, down dog. 2 breaths. Second inhale. And transition to cat pose. Drop the knees and tuck the chin, arch the back. Chin off the chest, rock the pelvis back, elbows in tight, buttocks high, lower the chin, slide forward onto the abdomen. Press down through the abdomen, scrub the hands back, elongate the spine, and lift up into cobra. Keep pressing the tops of the feet in the abdomen down, pelvis. And lower the forehead to the mat. And then pressing back to child's pose. We'll hold here for a few breaths. Second half of the pose, opportunity to connect with the breath, to connect with sensation in the body. Envisioning that breath coming up through the back of the spine, up through the crown of the head. Envision it coming back down the front side of the body like a ball of energy. Breath, vital life source, sustaining our body. Checking in with the state of the mind. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and exit from here and come transition up to down dog. Press through the palms, tuck the toes, take the hips up and back. We're going to go ahead and raise the right leg up behind us, Lift it high, reach the heel towards the ceiling and the sole of the foot to the wall behind you. You can keep a plantar flexion in the foot now. It's almost like you're trying to step on a pedal of a car, so the toes are pressing more forward. As you bend the knee, we're going to come forward to three-leg plank. Bring the tucked knee under the chest and stretch back to three-legged dog. And as you bring it forward this time, take it to the outside of the right palm. Stretch back, three-legged dog. And third time through across midline to the outside of the left palm. Stretch back, three-legged dog. Lower that foot to the ground. We're going to repeat that on the opposite side. If you're finding this is too much for you, you can actually do this in a tabletop position where you just bring the knee forward under the chest to the center to begin. If you're in three-legged dog, come forward to three-legged plank. If you take table, you just take the knee again to the outside edge of the same side. On second time, take the leg back. Third time through across midline. And back to three-legged dog or table. If you did take that in table, come up to down dog now. Now as we raise the right leg up behind us, as we bend it, we're going to put the sole of the right foot by the right thumb. Coming into a high runner's lunge here. So forward knee is directly over the forward ankle. The back toes are tucked, lifting the back leg high off the ground, particularly the shin, elongating the whole line of the back side of the body, spinal column reaching and extending, crown of the head coming forward. So we're going to prepare to inhale the arms up overhead into a warrior lunge. There is an option to drop that back knee if you are called to today. Beautiful. Let's come to a revolve prayer. Remember, options are to take the hand to the thigh and small in the back, otherwise bringing the hands to Anjali Mudra. Take the left elbow to the outside of the right palm. The palms are pressing together, the right elbow going up toward the ceiling. This can also be done with the knee down. And if it's too much, just taking the hand to the side, small at the back. Bring the hands back to heart center. Let's go ahead and bring the left hand down to the mat. It might be on tucked fingers or perhaps the palms flat, pressing fully. Fingers pointing in toward the instep of the right foot. And this time now, again, a similar twist. Open the right arm up overhead, or perhaps it's on the small of the back. More activation in the back of the gluteal muscles here, or the back of the hand, quadriceps perhaps. Make sure that forward knee is shin bone perpendicular to the floor. Lower that right hand down. You've got each hand on opposite side of the right foot. With the back toes tucked now, take the right leg back to meet the left. High plank position for 2 breaths. Modifications to drop the knees rather than to lift the hips higher. And press back to down dog. We'll repeat on the opposite side. Go ahead and raise the left leg up behind you. Reach and extend. As you bend the knee, plant the left foot by the left thumb mount. High runner's lunge. Back shin lifted high off the mat. Elongate the spine. Crown of the head reaching forward. Remember, there's an option here to drop the back knee. Otherwise, rooting through the feet, inhale the torso off as you bring the arms up overhead. Beautiful. Finding your drishti. We'll bring the hands down to heart center. Come across midline for revolve prayer. Right elbow outside of left thigh. Press the palms together. Left elbow up to the ceiling. Feel that the revolve sensation of the entire torso. Bring the hands back to heart center. We're going to go ahead and lower the right hand down to the mat, either the palm or resting on fingertips. And again, open that left shoulder up. Bring the arm up overhead or bend at the elbow and bring the hand to the small of the back. Beautiful. Nice work. Lowering that raised hand to the outside of the left foot, pressing through the hands as you take the left foot back to meet the right high plank 2 position. 2 breaths, high plank position. Here. And let's go ahead and drop the knees and come to child's pose. Sink the buttocks back to the heels. Few breaths here. And second half of the pose. Connecting with the breath, the state of the mind. And from here, coming back up to down dogs, we're going to transition toward a warrior flow. Raise the right leg out behind you. Bend the knee, plant the right foot by the right thumb down. As you inhale the torso upright, arms reaching toward the ceiling. Now drop that back left foot out at 45-degree angle, transition to warrior 2, lower the arms down to shoulder height. So the back foot, 45-degree angle, more weight on the outer edge of the back foot. Make sure the right knee doesn't come ahead of the right ankle. Reach and extend the fingertips. Change position here for visuals. Gaze over the forward middle finger. Exalted warrior, rotate that forward palm, drop the back palm under the back thigh and reach the right fingertips up toward the ceiling. And then we'll come back to warrior 2. Preparing for warrior side angle. You can bend the elbow and rest the arm on the right thigh. Raise the left arm overhead. Check to see that the torso is turned toward the side wall and not down toward the ground. If you want, you can bring the left arm alongside the left ear, one long line, reaching from the back of the foot out the fingertips. And as we inhale ourselves back up to warrior 2, triangle pose now. Straighten that forward leg. Reach forward with the forward fingertips. Rotate the palms. Lower the back of the right hand to the inside of the right leg. Left arm up overhead. Hold here. Feel a broadness through the whole body as you reach and extend the arms in opposite direction. If there's a lot of tightness and constriction in the upper arm, you can bend at the elbow and rest the hand on the small of the back. And we'll straighten that left arm again and lift ourselves up and sink back down to warrior 2. Preparing to transition to the opposite side, so it comes through the mountain at the front of the mat. Perhaps pivot that back foot and spring forward. And then we're at mountain at the front of our mat. And this time, we'll take the right leg back behind us, turn it out 45-degree angle. Rooting down through the 4 corners of the left foot, left knee directly over the left ankle. Inhale, your arms out at shoulder height, gazing over the forward middle finger, warrior 2. Soft, gentle drishti. We prepare to come to exalted warrior. Rotate that forward palm, raise it overhead, drop the back palm onto the back thigh. Reach and extend the raised arm as if those muscles in the arm come right up from the shoulder girdle, from the side of the torso all the way down to the waist. The entire length of the muscles extending and lifting upward. You almost feel like the pelvis is coming up out of, pardon me, the torso up out of the pelvis. And we'll bring the arms back to warrior two. Warrior side angle now, option to bend that arm and rest it on the leg. Perhaps actually just the palm is on the thigh. Or if you straighten the arm, you bring the back of the arm to the inside of the left leg. Remember to pause with the arm overhead, the right arm overhead, to make sure you're opening that shoulder to the wall behind you, and then bring it alongside the ear if you choose. And we'll windmill the arms back to warrior two. Prepare for triangle, Trikonasana. Straighten that forward leg. Reach forward with the forward fingers. Rotate the palms. Bring the back of the left hand to the inside of the left leg. Raise the right arm up overhead. Reach and extend the fingertips. But remember, if there's tightness or constriction, you can bend the right elbow and rest the hand on the back. And we'll lift from the upper fingertips to bring ourselves back upward and sink down the bent forward leg, warrior two. And as we pivot on the back foot, arms out to the side, spring forward, coming toward mountain pose at the front of the mat. Second half of the pose, again, close the eyes. Feel grounded and rooted through the feet. Feel an upward lift through the spine, chin parallel to the floor. Connecting with the breath. Maybe just pausing to bring back to mind whatever you had come to mind at the beginning of the practice that you're feeling particularly grateful for today. Okay, let's go ahead and open our eyes. We're going to come to a standing balance pose. We'll use our straps in a reclined version of standing hand to foot. So for now then, let's just do tree pose. We'll work down through the right foot, tiptoes of the left foot, open the hips out to the side, 90-degree angle. And perhaps take the foot off the ground and press the sole into the calf, or if you prefer, up onto the inner thigh. Again, really notice that adduction of the sole of the foot pressing in the leg, and that leg pressing back into the foot. Really activating those hip flexors here. The hands come where they're called to, whether it's Anjali Mudra or up alongside the ears like branches of a tree. Maybe spread out alongside you here, or if you want to interlace them into temple. In temple, we look to have a straight arm. So you can press the palms together, pointer finger is going up. And a straight arm. Beautiful. Letting the hands come back down. Now release the leg, and any little counter movement to bring some sense of ease, maybe shaking it out or open it up. We prepare to go to the opposite side. We'll move down through the left foot, tiptoes of the right foot, open the hip out to the side toward a 90-degree angle. The heel just above the inner ankle, and then modify as you might be called to, whether you want to raise the foot off the ground and press the sole into the calf or thigh. Really feeding that adduction. Feel how it activates and fires up the hip flexors to have that inward gathering, the foot and leg pressing into one another. Let the hands come where they're called. And also utilizing that drishti here, soft, gentle gaze.
you release the hands, release the leg again, shaking it out. Beautiful. So we're going to prepare to come down to our mat. Now just a reminder here to grab your strap or whatever you may have got that will serve as a yoga strap, belt, a bathrobe tie, exercise band. Sometimes even a towel can be used if you have a long bath towel. So we're going to come right down onto our backs here, lying down on the back with the legs, knees bent, soles of the feet flat on the ground. We're going to take the right foot off the mat, take the strap and put it around the foot just above the arch, but below the big toe mound. Begin to straighten that right leg up toward the ceiling. You have one side of the strap in each hand here. So we want to keep a neutrality in the foot, dorsiflexion. If you feel the back line of the leg is just too extreme, there's a few options here. You can either bend the knee a little bit, or you can take the leg further away, less of a 90-degree angle, and further toward the wall in front of you. Either of those options can really ease sensation in the back line of the leg if it's feeling excessive. So let's just press the toe mound up, more of a plantar flexion, like you're trying to step on the accelerator of a car. And now lift the heel higher as the toes come toward the direction of the face. A couple times here, so just activating the back line of the body and of the leg in different ways here. Once more, drop the toes toward the head as you lift the heel higher. And that really, for some of us, really activates the back of the leg, the hamstrings. Bringing the leg back to neutral here. Now there's an option to straighten that left leg, or you can maintain the sole of the left foot flat on the ground. And as we swap the strap, keep it on the right foot, and swap it both sides to the right hand. Take the left arm away from you in a T formation, and start to open the right leg out to the right hand side. Now you imagine you're standing on that left foot, so plantar flexion, or dorsiflexion in the left foot. And as you lower the right leg toward the right hand side, you can turn the gaze over the left shoulder. This is the pose I was referring to earlier in our standing before tree, that this is one you can do in standing as well. So really nice balancing, weight-bearing practice. But as we're moving down to the warm down portion of our practice, doing these in a supine position gives the same benefit and opening for the joints, but allows us to start relaxing the sympathetic nervous system somewhat. If your gaze is over the left shoulder, bring it back to center, resting on the back of the skull. Inhale the leg up toward the ceiling. Keep the strap on the right foot, but swap the strap to the left hand. Take the right arm out in a T formation, and taking the right leg across midline of the body off toward the left-hand side of the mat. Now notice if your right shoulder wants to start lifting, keep it glued down here. It might not allow the right leg to come down as far, but we're looking to keep that right shoulder glued down. This is reclined or supine version of revolved triangle, and if we allow the right leg to come down to the ground at the expense of the right shoulder lifting, it changes the position of our torso in a way we just wouldn't be able to do in a standing revolved triangle. So we're focusing on working on these opening of or activation of the back line of the right buttock, the gluteal muscles, long line of the right leg, soft gaze over the right shoulder. Bring the head back to center. Inhale the right leg back up overhead. Take the strap one side in each hand again. Elongate the leg as you lower it down toward the ground. So you can release the strap from both feet, bend the feet again, bring the soles of the feet, bend the knees, soles of the feet flat on the ground, knees up toward the ceiling. Just pause here for a moment.
Let's go ahead and take the strap around the left foot. Take the left foot off the ground, bring the strap just above the arch. Right sole of the foot still on the ground. Straighten that left leg up toward the ceiling, or a bend in the knee if needed for the back line of the leg. So neutrality in the foot here, or dorsiflexion. Now a bit more of a plantar flexion to lift the toe mound higher than the heel, like you're stepping on an accelerator in a car. And now again, lower the toes in the direction of the head as you lift the heel higher. Wow, really feeling that in the back side of the leg. Once more, plantar flexion. Press the toe mound higher. And drop the toes in the direction of the head as you lift the heel higher. Whew. Let's bring the foot back to neutral. Option to straighten the right leg out. Keeping the strap on the left foot, swap the strap to the left hand. You can eat up as much of the strap as you want, so you get more of a straight arm. Take the right arm out in a T formation and begin to lower the left leg to the left-hand side, gazing over the right shoulder toward the outstretched hand. And again, envision you're activating that right leg as if you were standing on it. I find it's a very useful practice in our house to, I'm sure you probably have some area in your house that is an optimal height for you to rest your leg on and do these sorts of supported version of this pose. Maybe, well, for some people, even a countertop or a table is optimal height. But it can be really a nice way to strengthen the standing leg, to open up the back line of the outstretched leg. Bringing the head back to center. Let's inhale the left leg back up toward the ceiling. Swap the strap to the right hand as you keep it on the left foot. Bring it across midline. Take the left arm out in a T formation away from you. Lowering the left leg off the right hand side of the mat. Remember to keep this left shoulder and shoulder blade really firmly connected to the mat. Breathing, envision sending that oxygen to any area that you might feel some tightness, might feel some tension. Bring the head back to center, resting on the back of the skull. Inhale the leg back up toward the ceiling. Swap the strap. One hand is holding each side, one side. Lower the left leg toward the ground in front of you. And release that strap and just set it aside here. Beautiful. So we're going to go ahead and bend the knees, hug them in toward the chest, and perhaps a little rocking side to side, or maybe it feels nice to do a little forward and backward spinal rocking. If you do choose this, it's really crucial that as you go backward, you really tuck the chin tight to the chest. We want to protect the back of the neck here, so you tuck the chin tightly as you roll back. This is just an option. For some people, this feels awful, so you'll know your spine better than anyone, so if that's not feeling good for you, then just gently move side to side. Beautiful. So we're going to go ahead and release the legs. Let's see if you can straighten the legs toward the ceiling, squarely pressing down through the sacrum here, lifting the soles of the feet up to the ceiling. The arms might be alongside the body, pressing the palms into the mat, creating a little bit of engagement in the abdominal muscles here. If this is too intense, there's an option to bend the knees. So you keep the upper leg bone perpendicular to the ground, shins facing directly to the ceiling. That's a variation of this. We can do a little bit of abdominal work here. So remember, option to bend the knees if you'd like. We're going to slowly lower one leg down toward the ground, the right leg, to the heel. Don't let it quite touch the ground, and then raising it back up overhead. And then move to the opposite side. Now, if you chose the option of bending the legs, you just lower the toe in the direction of the ground. Again, don't let it touch, raising it up, back up as you repeat on the opposite side. We'll do this a few more times. If you want extra heat, you can raise the arms up toward the ceiling, and as you lower the leg, lower the opposite arm, and then raising them back up toward the ceiling. Ooh, and keep breathing. Beautiful. Couple more cycles. And again, you can do the option with the knees bent. Okay. And then bringing the legs back down to the ground. Let's go ahead and prepare for Shavasana. If there's any last movements your body is asking for, about another minute or so to just respond to whatever your body is asking of you, just to finish up the practice and letting any last energy release, letting it go before we move to final resting pose. And also an opportunity to grab any article of clothing or blanket or any such thing that might bring a sense of warmth and comfort here so that you don't feel distracted by any sort of breeze. So as you finish, wrapping up your last movements there, transitioning now towards Shavasana. So you want to take the full traditional variation, lying on the back, legs stretched out in front of you, letting the feet splay outward. Notice that the back of the head feels like it's collapsing backwards, like it's resting on the very back of the skull. And sometimes it can feel nicer to just elongate the back line of the neck, lift the head about an inch off the ground, slightly tuck the chin, elongate the back line of the neck, and lower the head down. Now resting more on the occipital ridge, that bony protrusion on the bottom of the skull is more comfortable for most people. You can experiment, and ultimately you're looking for a sense of ease and comfort. So I only offer that variation if that might bring you greater relaxation. If you try it and it is less relaxing, then resort to your natural inclination. Let's take a few, 3 falling out breaths or releasing breaths here. So we're going to have a really deep inhale. And on your exhale, just let the air go, maybe with a deep sigh. And as you do that, envision you're letting go of any holding or clenching or tension. A second time as you deeply inhale. And again, let it go. Really releasing any holding. One last falling out breath here, deeply inhaling. And as you exhale, release forcefully with a sigh to let go of any tension or tightness or hold. Really feel now like you're sinking deeply, deeply into the ground. Scan your awareness through the body and determine if you're holding or gripping any area, tightness or tension that might allow for a greater sense of relaxation.
to the third eye, right in between the eyebrows, and just focus that awareness now a few inches in front of the skull, maybe 4 or 5 inches. So with the eyes closed, envisioning the focused concentration right there between the eyebrows, a few inches ahead of you. Ever so gently now, beginning just to lengthen the breath slightly. I'm just starting to bring a little bit of slow, subtle, quiet movement to the body. Maybe wiggle the fingers and toes, or rotating the wrists and ankles, and just starting to bring some vitality back to your form. Starting to move in any way that feels both restoring and invigorating. And then have a big stretch, like awakening from a sleep. Maybe bringing the arms alongside the ground, reaching them out overhead. Really long, long line. Now as you bend the knees, hug those in toward the chest. And eventually rolling over to the right hand side in a fetal position. And stretching out the upper leg as you press into the upper arm, bring yourself to an upright seated position. Just find a comfortable seat. You can allow the hands to rest in the lap or on the thighs. Closing the eyes if you have to open them to get resettled. This physical practice of yoga, asana, is really wonderful for maintaining our fitness level and keeping our body healthy and vital and maintaining flexibility and strengthening. And it's always a good reminder that the physical aspect is 1/8 of a yoga practice, the 8-limbed path of classical yoga. Patanjali wrote in the Yoga Sutras about this 8-limbed path, and when it was written about 2,000 years ago, he was the first to record it, something that had been passed down for generations. But also in the Yoga Sutras, he reminds us that the purpose of doing this is so we may get to know our true self. It is through this activity that we can calm the busy chatter of the mind to know our higher self, and that's maybe more modern language, higher self, but our consciousness. The third sutra, Tada Drashtahu Svarupeya Vastanam, is when we still have modifications of the mind in the second sutra. The third sutra tells us that we then experience our true essence. The third sutra of the first book. The 20th sutra of the second book tells us that this seer that I was talking about is pure consciousness. So this practice allows us to get in touch with that aspect of ourselves. Not only mental chatter that distracts us from who we truly are, it allows us to be connected internally with our true self. The seer is pure consciousness. The seer witnesses nature without being reliant on it. Just an observer without judgment. Beautiful. Let's bring the palms pressing gently together, heart center, thumbs resting against the sternum. Taking again another moment just to bring to mind whatever earlier in this practice you identified as something you're feeling grateful for. Allowing it to fill your heart and feel it overflowing with gratitude and love and compassion. That begins inwardly and shines out. Always starts at home. You know, this saying, charity starts at home. Or we can't love anyone else until we love ourselves. It all starts here so that we may then shine it forward to all those we encounter. May you have a beautiful day. The light of me acknowledges and bows to the light in you. Jai Bhagwan and Namaste. So grateful for your presence today. I look forward to connecting again. Again, I'm here Mondays at 9:30 for Gentle Flow, and every Friday at 9:30 for this Hatha class. So keep well, stay safe, and I look forward to connecting again.